Switch. Oh, there we go.
Perfect. Okay, your hair's looking a little bit nicer than mine, but that's okay.
I just fixed it up before we started.
The reason we're doing it is we're doing this because I saw loads of comments being like, "Oh, I can't wait for Dan to talk about his fight." So this is what that looks like. What did you think
Oh man, of my fight.
of mine? We spoke about yours already.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. I was like, we're not here to talk about your fight. I mean, my fight. We're here to talk about the champs fight.
Oh yeah, undefeated, mate. You know what I'm saying? Yeah.
I loved it. I
Yeah.
loved it, mate. My dick grew a foot when I was undefeated. I remember my first fight, won. Yeah, sky's the limit after your first win. I thought I was going to be the next Anderson Silva. It was coming. I was going to go on this, and then I lost my next fight. So it's like,
Yeah. Well, I can promise you, I don't think I'm going to be the next Anderson Silva. I certainly don't have the head movement for it. I just fucking
hey, all you need is this, baby. All you
yeah,
need is
the
this.
equalizer. Yeah,
Sit down, son. Nah, I loved
apparently,
it, bro. That's like all you possibly can ask for out of a first fight. It goes absolutely everywhere. Both boys get absolutely tested. That's all you could possibly ask for.
yeah.
Wonderful, sir.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Round of applause.
Thank you.
Round of applause. Classy performance.
Yeah, I think that's the one and done though. I don't think I'll do it again. I don't think.
Oh yeah. You might get, mate. You're still hungover from the after party. You wait, the itch
Should
might come
have
back.
seen that one. Woo! That was I had a whiskey in my hands before I got to the back, and the doctor was like, "Can you please wait to start drinking that? Like, can I finish my examination?" I was like, "No," just started fucking pounding it. But
It
yeah,
was like after my fight. Yeah, where's the beers? Where's the beers?
yeah, they should
They got
have.
me some beers, and I'm singing some tunes, and then there's like a newer PR lady comes up and she's like, "Oh, Dan, you've actually got a lot of media lined up. Uh, could you might want to hold off?" And I was just like, "Love, this is not my first beer." I said,
Yeah,
I said this is gonna make my interview skills skyrocket.
yeah. Especially if you bust out lines like "my dick grew a foot," like you just said. I think that's like the headlines make the right themselves. It's funny with the old fight thing, right? I don't know if this is for everyone or not, but one thing I was surprised was how many internal conversations you have in there, like actual, like full on conversations. Like in the first round, he landed a flurry, and I was like, I can't believe he's going to finish me in the first round. That's so
Yeah, yeah,
embarrassing.
yeah,
Yeah, literally,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
as
It's
I'm getting
funny,
tagged
like
around.
it's funny. Yeah, it's funny how your mind wanders because everyone from the outside is like will see it, and they're like, what it looks like and what's actually going on can be
Yeah,
two very different things. Like, yeah, you're having like all of these little internal battles. Everyone's like, oh, that went pretty smooth, and you're like, not in my head, it was.
yeah, yeah. The first punch he landed, I was like, he hits way harder than he used to in sparring. That's so not good. And then I
Yeah,
just like,
exactly. You're like these gloves hurt a lot more
yeah, yeah.
than the other gloves.
Even when I like came out for the second round, I was like, I suppose he'll probably finish me in this one, but we'll get through it. And then it went my way, I suppose. But it's a wild thing to do, man. It was a cool experience. It was like,
Yeah. I kind of said it to you, and it was like, don't like. That's why I said like, don't hold on to any
yeah,
thought too long because they do like it, regardless of how experienced you are or how well the fight's going. Like there'll be moments in the fight when you're just like, oh shit, I'm losing, and then you like 10 seconds later, or you hit him with a good shot,
yeah,
and you're like, shit, I might knock him out.
yeah,
And you start thinking about that, like you just can't get stuck to any thought too
yeah,
long because your mind is constantly playing tricks on you, like the whole time. Like you're out back, and then regardless of how many fights or how tough you are, like or whatever that, like you'll
yeah,
be out back, and you'll just be like the question on your shoulder would just be like, what are we what are we
yeah,
doing here? And like I'm experienced enough now that I know that regardless of what happens, like those questions, he's still gonna come there and he's gonna ask those questions, and like it'll always like your mind always starts doubting itself. So it's like just not like now I'm at the point now where I kind of just laugh at it.
Yeah.
I have those voices in my head going, man, this is it. Oh shit. Like, did we do enough to prepare? And I'm like, that's why you'll see me like smile as I'm walking out, or like smile before, like when I'm in the changing room, because I'm just like, oh, there he is.
Yeah.
There he is. And he just
Yeah.
kind of like laugh. And I just like laugh those questions off now. I'm like, shut up, mate.
Yeah. You said to me, you're like, hey, look, don't focus on any one thing throughout the day. And that actually did come in handy, because when we did the rules meeting, the referee was like, does anyone know what spiking is? And he was like, because you can spike and get paralyzed. And I was like, all right. Like, just the fucking
Paralyzed.
Yeah, I know. Then I was like, oh my God, dude, what if I get fucking paralyzed? And then I just like managed to,
Yeah. Like
okay,
one thing can like completely set you off on a tangent. Like
Yeah.
you just get focused on that one thing. Because I've seen it, obviously, like cornering a lot of guys and coaching a lot of guys.
Yeah.
They get stuck on like one thing, and they're just like, this is gonna happen. Like this is, and I'm just like, no, like don't get caught on any one thing. Like it's a fight. It when it gets difficult is when the fight starts. It's like it's a sport until it's a fight. Like it's a sport until you get pushed and you have to start digging down.
Yeah, I mean, I could, in the back before we went out, I knew I was like, right, this is what's going to happen. I told everyone in the room, I was like, I'm going to go out there, I'm going to kick him in the legs. It's going to fucking hurt him. He's going to be super flinchy, and then I'm going to kick him in the head. I went out, kick him in the legs, didn't flinch at all. And then I was like, what's up? Like, it's fucking, it's managing your energy as well is tough, because I was in the back, I was fucking all bit of buzz and getting hyped. And then we went to go ready to walk, and then they did the national anthem stuff. You're waiting for 20 minutes. So by the time it was like, kept up and down.
Yeah. Yeah,
like Tom Jones hit them speakers, like, and I was ready.
So many times of like the first fight where you do like the guy's warming up and he's like exploding and everything, like walking out and he's high-fiving all his friends and that. The amount of times I've like the copper's got into the ring and he like turns around to me and they just he doesn't even just like, sometimes they say it, sometimes they're like, coach, I'm actually quite tired, or it's not even. Sometimes they don't even say it. Sometimes like they're so hyped and jacked up, and they just like look to you in the corner with just this blank look, and I already know what it is. Yeah. I already know they're going, my adrenaline just dumped, and I'm feeling my legs feel like they weigh a ton. Like my legs feel like they weigh a ton. So that I try to explain to guys, like, whatever, for like your first 5 or 10 fights, I'm like, whatever fitness you think you have, it's like you step in that door or you step under those ropes and it's like a fifth. I'm like, chop it in the
pace is just too hard to replicate.
It's just the intensity. It's just having everyone watch you. Like, man, if you had everyone watching you every second of every day in training, like you would get used to that feeling. It just comes with experience, like the added pressure of like everyone watching, like the added pressure of the lights, the added pressure of the cameras, and all that, like that completely changes, and it completely like folds some guys. Like some guys just actually can't deal with it. Like there's guys that will kick your ass in the gym, but these guys go into like a local grappling tournament with 10 people watching in the room and they fall to bits, and it's just the funniest thing to see, because you're like, man, if you just did what you did to me in the gym, like you'd be more successful than me. But like that's the real trick of it. It's like who can do it when the camera's on.
But that's the X factor that makes it what it is, right? It's not you're not doing it behind the closed doors and everything. The X factor is doing it in front of everybody. It was funny because I couldn't hear the crowd really. Like you get so in it, you couldn't really hear it. And then Brett Okamoto was there and he was so hammered. He just came and got in my corner in between rounds. I was like, fucking kill him. And I had to be like, dude, shut up. Like I actually had to say to him, dude, I can't, like, you're being so loud right now. It was fucking wild, man. Wild experience.
I've had to chill. Yeah, I've had to chill. It was like one fight, I was having an absolute war with this bloke, and I could just hear my sister screaming, just go, Dad, go, like bloodthirsty cries. I remember turning to him in the fight and just being like, just dial it down. Just bring it down. Like, I like the energy. Just a couple of notches. Just wind it back.
I just kept hearing, I was like, let's go, Oscar, kill this kid. I was like, he's a nice kid. There's no reason to wish this guy's death. He actually was
Yeah.
pretty good. I think that kid's actually like for 20 years old. He's only been training a little bit. I think he might actually be decent enough at one point. He's got very good hands. I'll give him that. Not a good kick, so. But anyway, so we still on for Perth? Do you reckon?
We're still on. We're still on. We're still on.
Yeah, still finding anyone in the world possible who can accept the fight. Any news?
Whoa. Whoa. Well, who's put? No, it's not really. I left a pretty broad, list of requirements, and I haven't heard many responses. Like, so it's kind of gonna come down to like it'll come down to just the UFC forcing someone's hand, I guess.
Yeah.
Like from what I can see, the UFC are saving me a spot on the card. Like they'd love to have me fighting obviously close to home, and I feel like I've done enough to like earn a spot close to home. So it's just like, yeah, it'll come down to the UFC like forcing someone's hand. Like there's a lot of guys that are just obviously like I think they're ready to go. Like you look at the rankings and who's booked. There's bugger all fights like really like there's like two or three guys that are actually booked.
Yeah.
Which is like two or three bites. Like there's actually a lot of guys sitting out there twiddling their thumbs. Like I thought that's why I didn't get out there and call names. I was like, man, there's enough guys sitting out and waiting. Like let's see who wants to make the move and do the dance. But yeah, UFC will once like Sean starts putting some heat on someone, like then it definitely forces their hand when the fight gets offered.
Yeah. I'm going to knock you up some application forms for do you want to fight me? And then you can just DM them to other fighters. You know, like send Tony an application form. Like, do you want to fight me? Yes, no. You know, just stuff like that. It'd be interesting to see who would actually even reply. But I think like you said, like you're the one who of all the people in the world who got fucked with the pandemic, it was you, wasn't it, really? That was like the one who had to go through the most hoops and everything. So I feel like they should give you one back.
Yeah, and I think they will. I think like the UFC, without a doubt, definitely like knows what I kind of like the risks I took in those pandemic times, and they're like more than like appreciative of it.
Yeah.
Like if they're saving me a spot, they must have an opponent. So I'm just gonna have to over the next week or so just wait to see who it is.
Yeah, boy. When you just start to camp next week, you think? Like as soon as that? December.
Well, it'll be like I'm like just pop my head back in the gym. I've taken like a week and a half off, and I already feel like I'm sick of it. You know what I mean? I'm already sick of.
I don't feel that way. I don't feel. Actually, like it's weird to train so much, and this is all relative, obviously, but it's weird to train so much and then immediately like stop. You just feel like a fat pig, like straight away, like by not doing activity. And admittedly, my lifestyle over the past few days has sort of helped that feeling of feeling fat and disgusting. But you know,
doesn't yeah, that happens like regardless. That's regardless of like when do you like actually injured, like severely injured, and then you like just sit on the couch. It's like when we were even like locked down like in our rooms for 2 weeks after the fight with nothing but Uber Eats and nowhere to work out. Like that you actually feel like shit. But I've actually done fights obviously like straight after the fight. You're having a bit of time, but you eat healthy, like keep your weight under control, get back into training. You still feel like an absolute slob. Like it's actually just that shift. Like it's like the energy shift. Like you ramp things right up. Like there has to be a crash. Like no one can have like a peak.
Yeah.
And then no dip. There's a dip regardless of like how terrible you treat your body after a fight.
And I have been. Weight cuts are shit too, by the way. I cut 8 pounds and it was just boring and miserable and just like, ugh, I feel like your life force.
Nah, it's miserable no matter how much weight you do. Like I find like the least weight, like I've bought some fights at like 75 kilos, and then because you don't take it so serious, it becomes hard. So I actually find like actually making a number like something that makes you nervous, like,
Yeah.
and you get locked in, then it becomes like easier.
I was like, I was 158 2 days to go. I was like, oh, this is easy. I'll just sweat 2 pounds out the day off. And then I had way too much chicken for dinner. And then I woke up at 164. And then I was like, oh, shit. And then I actually had like 8 pounds, 9 pounds to cut. So, and then I ended
That's
up
a bit of chicken.
cut
That's
too
a
much.
bit of chicken. What the fuck did you eat?
I had, well, it was like taco chicken and it was very nice. I don't know what they're called, but they were very tasty. I had what
It's,
very Moorish, you know, like many of the things in my life, Dan.
yeah,
Just continuously
just
doing more.
shouldn't have done that. That's
Yeah.
just
Well, yeah, I know. We got through it anyway. And I
live and
was,
learn, live and learn.
yeah. Was it fun to watch? Were you enjoying it? It was a good
Yeah,
scrap.
yeah, yeah. I was trying to think. Oh, was that my I was at my daughter's birthday. That's what I was
Oh, no way.
watching.
Happy birthday to her.
We had it. Yeah, yeah. We had it at the trampoline park. Had everyone down there, pizzas.
Nice.
Um, Trampoline park is absolutely exhausting. That
Right.
is.
Isn't that like, so I used to have a trampoline when I was a kid. I swear I could go on that for like 3 hours at a time. In fact, one time I went on it and the family tortoise escaped and I didn't notice because I was trampolining so much and the tortoise ran away. Sorry, mum. But yeah, like when you go as an adult, it's the most exhausting thing in the world. Like 5 minutes, you're just like, fucking hell.
Bro, they did it for 2 hours. So the party was like 2 hours, and these kids in there because they got like trampoline, dodgeball, like just playing trampoline. Like
Yeah.
there's like a huge dodgeball space. These places are sick. They don't have the. I would 1000%. If they had them as a kid, I would be paralyzed. Like they, like these kids do wild shit. Like they're allowed to like jump off this and spin around and play basketball and stuff. And it's just like I would have killed myself on these.
Someone else too, probably. I mean, I threw a mate off the trampoline and hurt his back. I remember that, thinking like I killed him, but he was fine, by the way, just in case. All right, mate, you're off to the doctors now, aren't you? No.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I'm going to stop recording. Thanks, Dan.